Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. As-salatu was-salamu ala rasulihil kareem wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man istanna bi sunnatihi ila yawmiddin. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, brothers. Inshallah, today we'll start the hadith number 8 of Imam AnNawawi's 40 hadith. Alhamdulillah, we have done almost 7 hadiths, and each of the hadiths we had at least 1 week or more than 1 week sometimes. So as we do all the time before we start the hadith number 8, we'll quickly go through the 7 hadiths, the concept of 7 hadiths that we learn, so that it keeps in our memory, and inshallah ta'ala, at the end of this series at least we can tell from our memory, okay, these are the hadiths we learned, this is the hadith about, and these are the sahaba that describe the hadith. So for that I have just make a quick chart of distribution just to remind you all, guys. So the first hadith was the actions are judged by intention. Innamal a'malu binniyat. Everybody knows that one hadith, and then it's described by Umar ibn al-Khattab. The second hadith also from Umar ibn al-Khattab, when he said it's the hadith of Jibril. Well, Jibril came as a human form and asked the question of Iman, Islam, and the sign of last day, and fi ihsan, and all other things to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And the third hadith is Abdullah ibn Umar, the son of Umar ibn al-Khattab, and his hadith was the Islam is based on 5 pillars that we all know, that the shahada, the salah, the zakah, the hajj, and also the swam. And then the fourth hadith, the creation of baby in the womb and the destiny, that is Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, that where Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said how from a nutfa, from a drop of fluid, that Allah formed the baby into a mudga. From the mudga it becomes a flesh of a meat, and all these things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does, and the angels is come to the womb of the mother to write the destiny. And also in the same hadith Rasulullah mentioned that a person does the work of a Jannah for the all life is life, but destiny comes over and he did something before he passed away, and Allah takes him to the Jahannam. On the other hand, the person do the work of Jahannam, and the destiny comes over him, and he do something that takes him to Jannah. Then fifth hadith was from the hadith from our mother, the Al-Mu'minin Aisha radhiyallahu anha, where she said that anything that is new, someone does something or someone follows something new, that is rejected in the deen, that is the bid'ah, that is rejected in the deen. And and from that we had a discussion, what is a bid'ah, how can we identify the bid'ah, how it is dangerous to our deen. And also we mentioned some other hadiths regarding that one. The sixth hadith from Nu'man ibn Bashir. Nu'man ibn Bashir was 10 years old when Rasulullah passed away. So he was a little boy, and he heard directly from Rasulullah about this wonderful hadith about halal is clear and haram is clear, and in between are the doubtful matters. And whoever avoids the doubtful matters, he has kept his religion, his deen, and his honor. And also in the same hadith Rasulullah mentions there's a part of your body, a flesh of a meat in the body. If this is right, everything is right. If this is corrupt, everything is corrupt, and that is heart. That Rasulullah mentioned, and we talked about that even from the Quranic perspective, how Allah talked about the qulub in different ayah of the Quran. The next hadith, the last one that we did last week, this is from Tamim al-Dari. We talked about Tamim al-Dari, who was Tamim al-Dari, why he is famous for, what are the other hadiths we had from Tamim al-Dari, and the hadith was ad-dinut nasiha. The religion is about nasiha, and nasiha means, as we said, is sincerity. And sincerity to whom? As Rasulullah mentioned in the same hadith, it is sincerity to Allah, to His Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to His books, and to the leader of the ummah, and to the common folk, meaning your brothers in Islam, who are your neighbor, your masjid brother, or your relatives, all the common people. So the sincerity to all these people. Now today's hadith, the hadith number 8, it is also from Abdullah ibn Umar. So we're not going to talk about Abdullah ibn Umar, because we already talked about in the hadith number 3 that he was the son of Umar ibn Khattab. Only thing to mention that just to remind you guys that he was one of the 4 Abdullah. There was 4 Abdullah in the time of Rasulullah sallallahu, and they were very, very famous. They're all young when the time, and some of them actually born in front of Rasulullah sallallahu in Medina. And also the other 3 Abdullahs were also very young at that time. But when Islam passed away, they were become the great scholar of Islam. And different, like Abdullah ibn Abbas, Abdullah ibn Umar, some hadith scholars, a tafsir scholar, and all other things. They are pious, they are rich, righteous. They guided so many people through their knowledge and everything. So Abdullah ibn Umar was one of them, and he was a very, very strict follower of the Sunnah. His quality was, he was so much strict that everything that he saw Rasulullah was doing, he used to do exactly the same way. And sometimes he made it so difficult for other people that one day his father came and told Abdullah ibn Umar, if you do like the same way, people will think this is a wajib, this is not a sunnah. And people, you are making the deen difficult for you. So you do it for yourself if you are happy, but don't show it to other people, that other people will take it as a sunnah from you, and they will think that this is the only way to do things that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam did. So anyway, inshallah, we will go to today's hadith, and today's hadith is a bit interesting, and also, as you can say, a little bit of in our time, a little bit of controversial in the sense, because this is a hadith about jihad. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said from Abdullah ibn Umar, he said, I have been ordered to fight. Rasulullah in the Arabic was, umitu qala an qatilun nasi. So I have been ordered to fight, to qutil an-nas, meaning fight with the people, until hatta ashhadu la ilaha illallah wa anna Muhammadur Rasulullah wa aqimus salah wa atuz zakah. So meaning, Rasulullah saying that I have been commanded to fight the people until they testify there is no God but Allah, and Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the messenger of Allah, and also they perform the prayers and they perform the zakah. If they do so, if the people do so, then they will have gained protection for their lives or blood. In Arabic the language is blood, so their blood is sanctified and their property is sanctified from me, unless by the haqq of Islam, meaning unless after they accepted this but do something that is Islamically cause a punishment to them, so that will also be punished. It's not like they're safe forever. So that's what it means basically. So unless once they accepted this one and they became a Muslim, but if they do something bad after that, a crime has been committed by them, then of course the punishment will be applicable in accordance with Islam, and their reckoning will be with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at the judgment day. Now this hadith is in Bukhari and Muslim, and not only that, this hadith is not described by Abdullah ibn Umar only. This hadith was described by many other Sahaba, and among them, like the famous Sahaba of Abu Huraira, and this is found in Bukhari, and also this is described by Jabir, this is described by Anas ibn Malik. And all of the hadith, all of the narration is the same kind of narration, just a different type of words. And we need to understand the different narration to understand the whole hadith. What is the concept? Why the difference of narration? Because some Sahaba remember that way that this is what Rasulullah said, and this is common in hadith literature, in hadith science, that yes, same hadith can have different type of words, and the meaning of the words. So that one Sahaba understood in a different way, okay, and as long as it is make the same sense, this is not like a big difference, everything can be accepted as sahih. And some of the scholars say this hadith is mutawatir. Mutawatir means that it is described by so many Sahaba that as if it cannot have no doubt at all. Although these are all sahih hadiths in Bukhari and Muslim, but still there are some hadiths called mutawatir, meaning one hadith is described by a lot of people, lot of Sahaba. So this is something like this. Like the Quran, how do we learn the Quran? How do you know the Quran is like this? Because Quran is mutawatir. Because it was learned by the oral tradition. Everybody say the Fatiha the same way. Nobody added extra verse to the Fatiha. Everybody saying the Baqarah same way, every surah the same way. Like the way Rasulullah said, they learned it from him, and their generation after that they learned it the same way. So that's why the Quran is also mutawatir, and this is how the Quran is protected by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, the word people, here is Rasulullah said, I have been commanded to fight the people. In this word people, there are few opinions of the scholar. One of the majority of the scholars say this people means the people of Arabia only. At that time, meaning the mushrik, meaning people who were doing idol worship and everything. That is the majority comment. Why is that? Because the rule for jizya, for Ahl Kitab is different. And that's why another people say that the ruling of jizya, because of the ruling of jizya, meaning paying the tax in Islamic land, this hadith, a lot of scholars say this is mansub, meaning abrogated. This hadith could be abrogated also. Why? Because the new rule has been come. So like if you go to a land in that time and you conquer the land, and the people are Jewish and Christian, and that was the most of the people at that time, either they're Christian or the Jewish. So you just can tell them to follow this hadith. Also in the Quran, Allah says very clearly, La ikraha fid din. Surah Al-Baqarah, ayah number 256. Just after the ayah of Ayatul Kursi, the next ayah is La ikraha fid din. There is no compulsion in religion. If that is the case, and if you read this hadith, you have confliction, like the conflict between two things. How come Rasulullah is saying that I have to fight with the people until they say La ilaha illallah? On the other hand, in the Quran, Allah is clearly saying La ikraha fid din. There's no compulsion in religion. And then Allah says rushdu min al-ghayy, meaning the truth has been cleared from the falsehood. So as long as you present the truth to the people, that should be enough. But so that's why the people said, it is the people by people. The scholar says this is the people of the mushrik. And actually, this hadith, if you go through the seerah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, this is a hadith before a battle, and where they were concerned about the battle of the Tabuk, and before the battle there are different small Sariya like expedition. At that time, Rasulullah said this hadith because that time there are still pagans there in the Arab land, and he is talking about that one. But there is another opinion that people means any kind of people except Ahl Kitab. So if you think about the people of India, most of the people over there are mushrik. They are doing idolatry. So this hadith can be applicable to them. That we go to that land and this one. But then again, in saying that, the scholar mentioned that the time has changed, the ruling has changed, and time has changed meaning that we don't ignoring this hadith, but the leaders of the ummah, at one point they have decided that we can have this concept not without fighting. So a peace can be acquired, or a Islamic law can be done by doing a peace treaty, like Rasulullah did in the Treaty of Hudaybiyah. So if you read the history of Muslim land, after Rasulullah passed away, after the Khulafa Rashidin passed away, then came the Umayyad dynasty. The Umayyad dynasty, they are the only one for almost 100 and little more than 100 years. They went and they followed the path of jihad the way that Rasulullah followed, because Islam was spreading at that time. So they went to a new land with new people, and they give three options. These three options that comes from this hadith basically. They told the people, you accept Islam. You say accept Islam and we are brothers, everything is fine. If you don't accept Islam, then they come to the ruling of jizya. Then say, okay, if you don't accept Islam, then you have to pay jizya. You will be governed by the law of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Inil hukmu illa lillah. Meaning they know the inil hukmu lillahi, because the hukum is Allah's. The whole world belongs to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the rule should be the Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yes, you can keep your ibadah to your own God or whatever false God you're doing. It's up to you. You could be Jewish, you could be Christian, you could be, for the Jewish you're waiting for their Messiah to wait. So let them wait. If for the Christian they are waiting for Jesus to come back and and whatever they want to believe that way. But you do it in a way that Islam will tell you to do it. And that's how it was being in the time of the Sahaba, even in the Palestine, when Umar ibn al-Khattab conquered the land of Jerusalem, and at that time there was a lot of Jewish over there, a lot of Christian over there, and he kept them as it is. Not only there, even when the Sahaba, they went to the Iran, the current Iran, it's called Persia at that time. That was the biggest emperor at that time. We just stand here and read this story and say this. But if you imagine this thing, this is amazing, that how some people from Arab land, without any military training, nothing at all. These people, and who was the leader who went to the Persia? Persian emperor, not a country. It's an emperor. Like the whole world, like half of the world is owned by them. And this was Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas. Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas was a guy. He is a Sahaba when he has become fifth or sixth Muslim in the hand of Abu Bakr radhiyallahu anhu. So he was from the first 10 Muslim. He was one of them. So he has seen everything in his life. He has seen how Muslim was tortured in Makkah. They didn't have food, they didn't have living, and at the end they have to left Makkah. They have, and few of them went to Abyssinia, come back from Abyssinia, then again went to Medina. As soon as they come to Medina, they had Badr, Uhud, Khandaq, all this life like this. They couldn't even think that they could move from Medina. They could survive in Medina only. But then after that, they went and from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they followed the rules of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They had the iman like that way, and they went to Persia and they conquered the Persia. And after that, the Persian people are not Jewish or Christian. Most of them are Majusi. So they used to worship the fire and everything. So at that time, Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas, he said to Umar ibn al-Khattab, what should we do with these people? Should we take them as a captive, or because they also knew you cannot force Islam on anybody. You have conquered the land. You will implement the law of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but you cannot make them, put the sword on their head and say, okay, you have to accept La ilaha illallah now. No, you cannot do that. So that time Umar ibn al-Khattab did his istihad, because Islam said jizya is only for Jewish and the Christian, the Ahl Kitab. But Umar ibn al-Khattab said, no, because they are in that land, and we have no other things to know, no other ayah to describe this, so what can I do? So he made his own ijtihad. He said, from the Majusi also, will treat them exactly same as Jews and Christian. So they can live in their land, in their house, but they have to pay jizya, calculated by the Muslim leader or whatever it is, and that's what they do. So even if you understand this concept from the Sahaba point of view, this is also jizya. Now about the jihad in our time, because this hadith is the most important hadith about the jihad. The jihad of our time, it could be different, as different scholar explained. Because as I was saying that after the Umayyad dynasty, the Muslim world stopped to conquer the world. So meaning there was no battle basically after that. When the Abbasiyat come into the power after the Umayyad gone away, the Abbasiyat come to the peace treaty with most of the neighboring area. So by that time, Islam went to the North Africa, and also in this side it come to the Iran, Iraq, and the east side, Afghanistan, Khorasan, all these places. It come even to the India, the Pakistan and all these countries. And that side has already been conquered in the time of Umayyad. So after the Abbasiyat comes, only few expedition nearby area went there, but very soon, within 10, 15, 20 years, they decided that they're going to have a peace treaty with the other people. That is, we'll be living in our life, we have our rules in our land, you have your rules in your land. And as long as we don't harm each other, we'll be living like this. And from that concept, this is how it started and this is how it remained. Yes, there are other things during the time of the Crusader and everything, but that is a different thing, because they involve a different group of people and they try to kill all the Muslims. So obviously, Salahuddin Ayyubi, he fought against them, and that was a different kind of jihad, not for conquering the world, just to make the people out of the oppression from that land. And this is how the concept of jihad is now. And the current contemporary scholars, they said, for jihad, the ummah is such a division now. There are a lot of division in ummah. This group of people, they call them Salafi. This group of people call them Wahhabi. This Tablighi, and all this division, plus the Shia and the Sunni conflicts. All these things. For all these things, the jihad for us is to, build the ummah again, basically. So spread the message of Allah, and also the mass of the people. They don't even know what is iman. They don't even know what is prayer. Most of the people, most of the location and the people of the Muslim, only maybe 10% or maybe less than 10% people pray 5 times. Forget about all other knowledge and all other the concept of Islam. Less than 10% people in any sort of area, they pray 5 times. So in this kind of situation, and also we don't have the concept of khilafat now. We lost the Khilafat almost more than 110 years ago. When the Ottoman collapsed, that's when we lost the Khilafah, and there's no Khalifa after that. So for a jihad to call, a Khalifa must be there. A Khalifa must be there. So at the moment, the Ummah is not in a position to build a Khalifa, or there is no one to take the charge, and also the world is divided into countries. At that time, there is no concept of countries. So now we have different small countries, Lebanon, Jordan, Syria, all these small countries, Bangladesh, Pakistan, India, and all these countries. And there's some Muslims there. And then again the non-Muslim land, a lot of Muslims are people living in the non-Muslim land, in the USA, in Canada, in Australia. So all this ummah is divided. So at the moment, the jihad starts from your own home. You do jihad for yourself to bring the deen in your life, in your family's life. You do the jihad to bring the iman, to the Islam, to your community, to your masjid, and try to build up, spread the message and the knowledge of Islam. People, a lot of people doesn't even know what is hadith means. Why there is hadith weak? Why there is a fake hadith? Why is the what is the difference? Why there is so many hadith books and same hadith repetition in same kind of book? So they have no idea about these things. So a lot of scholars says, and most of the scholars agree that, the jihad is to build the ummah again. So inshallah ta'ala, we're not going to talk more about the concept of jihad. So we'll stop it here for this hadith. But as long as we remember that this hadith, as the scholar said, it is a hadith based on context. Meaning, Rasulullah said this in that time, and also the people here mean, as most of the scholars said, the people of the Arabia only for that time. But yes, if the time comes and time change, and comes again, then we have the concept that yes, we have to go for the jihad if the Khalifa is there, and we have to follow the rules as followed by Sahaba radhiyallahu ta'ala anhuma. Jazakallahu khairan, subhanakallahumma bihamdik, ashhadu an la ilaha ant, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.